If you look at the history of science, then it's pretty clear that religion and science have the same roots. They both grew out of our desire to better understand the world around us, to better understand our own existence. And so a couple of 100 years ago, those two paths split up, and now we have science and we have religion, and they kind of don't really talk to each other. But science still tries to address some of those big questions, and especially in the foundations of physics. Every once in a while, I think that scientists actually stray over into the territory that is religion, and I don't have a problem with them doing it. I just wish they would be clearer about that they're actually doing religion.
Hello, you're welcome to another beautiful episode of Beyond Indoctrination. It's been quite a while, but we are here again with another exciting, precise, and extremely short episode of typically analogies and how to use them to come to conclusions. This couple of analogies that would be used in this episode would give you a clear-cut idea how different philosophy of life look at the world and which is effective for understanding how the world works. And without much ado, let's get into it. Before I start with the analogies, I would like you to help me thank today's sponsors, UV-Tech. They absolutely are the best e-collector in the system right now. All you have to do, regardless of your position or your location, regardless of your country, you can hit up Universal Visions Technologies and they got you covered in all your monetary transactions. The first analogy is this. Consider that there is a huge mansion, very big mansion with several stories, several floors, with first floor, second floor, third floor, and so on and so forth, with a very huge compound that hosts different variety of people with different culture and different backgrounds. Now, in this big mansion, everyone in this mansion do not know objectively how the mansion was built. Everyone that lives in the mansion was born in it, meaning everyone grew into the mansion. Even though everyone do not know how it was built because they didn't actually see it, most people who live in most of the floors actually believe that this mansion was built by a figure, let's say Juro. So floor 1 believes that yes, Juro built this mansion. They have a document or they have a written text that tells them that that building was made of wood and it was built from ground up. Then there is a group of people, a different race, in let's say the third floor. And the third floor believes that yes, we also have a written document from our ancestry, who of course also were not present when it was being built. But the document we also have states that it was built of wood. So yes, some way, somehow, we agree with the down floor, but it was built from the top down. Looking at floor 1 and floor 3, they all hold documents of how the place was built, and it was passed on from generation to generation. So every generation, teaches the next one about this document, and they all extensively believe it, even though you do not require substantial evidence first. So you are taught as a child that this place was built with wood, and they built it from the bottom up. And people of the third floor also have their style in general, but they agree that it was built with wood and that it was built from the top down. Now, this is how people of the mansion actually use to convince themselves or to understand the environment they live in, because of course it's a mystery place. Everyone was born into it, so generally questions will be asked, and it is not exclusive to the third floor and the first floor only. The other floors also have what they believe or think about how the mansion came to be. But for the purposes of our work, let's stick to the third floor and the first floor. Now, there is a community which is considered the second floor in this analogy. And in this second floor, they do not have any substantial ancient documents that describe how this place was built. But for them, they generally want to look at the characteristics of the place and use that to form their conclusions. It begins by taking little detail from the wall. It starts from scratching the wall to observe the properties of the materials used in building the place. Over time, people of Floor 2 became so advanced that they built materials, they built labs to be able to understand more how the mansion was built. Eventually, they begin to figure out that, okay, this building was not made with wood. Nonetheless, it has some parts that were built with wood, but it was majorly made with soil, and also some parts contain ceramics. So with the people of Floor 2, the building is much complex than it is described in the documents Floor 1 and Floor 3 have.
I'm a biologist and a critical thinking communicator, and I'm often asked about the perceived conflict between science and religion. Scientific claims have to be falsifiable. This means that there needs to be a way to potentially disprove them with evidence. Supernatural claims are by definition unfalsifiable. My point is that scientific claims are limited to the physical universe and to things that we can use evidence to falsify. Religious claims are often based on unfalsifiable supernatural causes. By definition, science cannot prove or disprove an unfalsifiable supernatural claim. The point is, I don't think there needs to be a conflict between science and religion, as long as they both recognize their limitations and avoid encroaching upon the other's territory.
So this analogy is just basically to, show that we actually live in a world where most of us use our conclusions to come to reasons. We have the conclusion and then we get reasons to justify it. No one actually grew up with so much intellect or data enough to be able to ask questions about the things we believed from childhood. So you get to a point, you already hold some beliefs, but at that point, it has become part of your identity. So what you are going to do to sustain your identity is to find reasons to justify your, conclusions. But it can be the other way around, where you withhold belief or you withhold conclusions until you find substantial evidence to come to that. And that is what the people of Flow 2 are doing. To bring it in realistic context, both Muslims and Christians actually have people or their children studying science or the processes of science, but they do not hold scientific conclusions beyond their beliefs. A very few that are extremely objective would eventually be able to use the scientific conclusions to actually look at the world rather than using their religious documents as a science textbook or a lens through which they look at the world. Looking at this great mansion, between floor 1, floor 2, and floor 3, who do you think would hold an objective understanding of how the mansion came to be?
For some reason, we got this idea in our head that it has to be either God or science. On one side, we say, well, everything we've learned in science kind of disproves and explains away God, so we don't really need God anymore. On the other side, we say, well, I really believe in God, so I'm just going to kind of ignore everything we've learned in science over the past 500 years because, well, science is probably just wrong. But I don't think the problem is whether it's just this one or that one. It's that we think it has to be just one or the other. When think about it, even if you were a non-physical super intellect and you wanted to bring a physical universe into existence, first, you'd need the stuff to make it out of. Second, you'd have to come up with how all that stuff was going to come together to form things. And third, you'd probably do it in a way that's organized and makes sense. Or in other words, you'd have to come up with science. So then it wouldn't be about, is it just this one or that one? It's about other signs of intent and rationality, order, mind, in the science. Or not. You decide.
I would like to end on this note. The people of Floor 2 didn't build the mansion, and the people of Floor 2 are not in any context, competition, or issue with the people of Floor 3 or the people of Floor 1 or even Juro. They are just looking at the world and forming conclusions without their confirmation biases. All right, so bringing it to realistic instances, scientists did not create the world, but humans can look at the universe and make conclusions that go beyond our understanding, fully based on our beliefs.
One of my favorite stories is in a mother's womb where two babies, and one turns to the other and says, "Do you believe in life after delivery?" And the other replies, "But of course, there has to be something after delivery. Maybe we're here to prepare ourselves for what will be later." "Nonsense," said the first. "There's no life after delivery. What kind of life would that be?" "I don't know," said the second, "but there'll be more light than here. Maybe we'll walk with our legs and eat with our mouths. Maybe we'll have other senses we can't understand now." First goes, "That's ridiculous. Walking is impossible, and eating with our mouths, that's absurd. The umbilical cord is what scientifically supplies nutrition and all that we need, but it's far too short. Life after delivery is to be logically excluded." And the second says, "What if it's just different than it is here? Maybe we don't need that physical cord anymore." The first goes, "Okay, if there were life after delivery, then tell me, why has no one ever come back from there? Delivery is the end of life, and in the after delivery is nothing but darkness and silence and oblivion. It takes us nowhere." And the second says, "But certainly we'll meet Mother, and she'll take care of us." The first goes, "Mother? You actually believe in Mother? If Mother exists, where is she now?" And the second goes, "She's all around us. We are of her. It is in her that we live. Without her, this world would not and could not exist." And the first says, "I don't see her. It's only logical that she's not here." To which the second replied, "Sometimes, when you're in silence and you really listen, you can perceive her presence."
Yes, Focus Farms are the producers of Focus Honey. This is one of my very own, and they deal in all sort of, honey varieties like ginger honey and the likes. Just hit up Focus Honey of Focus Farms, and you would obtain them no matter where you are.